Welcome to the 36th Annual Fire Muster Parade, a bright and sunny day in Burnsville, Minnesota. Clear skies, 63 degrees, and an event that began in 1979 with a small group of firemen with an affinity for fire trucks now with a ton of pomp, circumstance, and thousands of people viewing, whether it's live or right here on BCTV. Welcome to the festivities. My name's Sam Ekstrom, joined by Assistant Fire Chief Doug Nelson to my right. Doug, welcome to the broadcast.
Good morning. How are you today?
Doing very well. It is a gorgeous day. Started out a little chilly, but we've got some sun. We've got some warmth. A few jackets out here, but altogether it's a beautiful morning turning into afternoon, 60-degree weather. It's gorgeous here in Burnsville. It's great to have you on board.
You couldn't ask for a more beautiful day than this.
Now, Doug, tell us a little bit about yourself just before we get to the trucks here. You are an Assistant Fire Chief.
That is correct. I'm an assistant fire chief at the Burnsville Fire Department. There are 3 assistant chiefs, 1 fire chief. My area that I oversee is prevention, investigations, and inspections.
And who do you work with primarily?
Primarily the admin staff, the fire chief, the other 3 assistant chiefs, and our admin assistant, and then we have an inspector up in the office with us as well.
Today's going to be a very, very unique parade in that we're going to see a number of vehicles, some new, some old, great diversity in these fire vehicles that we'll be seeing in a matter of moments.
That's correct. It looks like they run the gamut from late 1930s on up to our most recent purchase here in Burnsville this year.
Well, and the cool part about it is that it's a walk-up parade. I mean, you can bring your vehicle from your community and enter it as of this morning. So we don't know what we're going to see until the parade eventually gets to us. We do have a rundown here, but it's really new every year. You see a lot of really cool things, and we're going to get into the festivities immediately. The parade beginning with the head honcho, BJ Jungman. Now, what's your relationship like with your job with NBJ?
Well, BJ is obviously the fire chief of the fire department, and great fire chief to work for, very progressive, and has moved our department forward in a lot of areas. So,
Jungman coming over from Maplewood. He's been in his position for about 6 years. And we're going to see a lot of flashing lights, a lot of sirens. And what I really love about this, Doug, is the differences you see from truck to truck. You've got different, light patterns, different noises. Sometimes you have spinning lights on the front. I mean, it's cool how the fire trucks are like snowflakes. No one seems to be the same.
That is very true. They've the lighting changes that have gone on the last 20 years are quite different. Most everything you're going to see on the newer trucks are going to be LED based, kind of like in Chief Jungman's vehicle that's just approaching the camera now. And then as we get into the older trucks, you'll see the old lamps and those rotating type lights, and they all have different functions.
Right behind BJ Jungman here is a very special motorcycle. Obviously, the day after September 11th, the 14th anniversary, this motorcycle contains the names of all 343 members of the New York Fire Department who passed away with the tragedies of September 11th, 2001. An incredible memorial to them.
The next vehicle you're seeing, the fabulous Ford Fusion, that would be Assistant Chief Brian Carlson. Brian oversees our EMS and training division.
Well, we know Brian. He was on the broadcast last year.
Yep.
You have pretty big shoes to fill, Doug. I mean, it's really going to be tough to stand up.
He wears very fancy shoes. Engine 1 that's going past us right now is our newest engine. We just took possession of it this year, in fact. You'll see another secondary Pierce. They're almost mirror trucks. That would be our engine 2 out of our Station 2 on Parkwood Drive.
These are the local Burnsville fire vehicles here to lead off the parade, kicking off the festivities here in Burnsville, Minnesota. Once again, it's Sam Ekstrom and Doug Nelson. Community parade is on deck after 20 to 30 minutes of these fire trucks. Here's another Burnsville fire vehicle, engine 12.
That would be engine 12. That's our backup engine being driven by Captain Bill DiAgostino, who's our training captain. Always a smile and a wave coming from Bill.
And you might see the word paramedic on some of these vehicles. It's important to realize that in Burnsville, the paramedics and the fire and rescue staff are very interchangeable.
That is correct. All of our firefighters are cross-trained as paramedics. So we provide ALS transport services in this city. We're a fire and EMS-based organization.
What do we have coming up here? This is a big black vehicle, a change up from the red that we typically see. It's the Burnsville Mobile Command Center. What happens in there?
Well, as you can see on the side, it's a joint vehicle with the police department and fire department, and you'll see that vehicle out on larger scale incidents. If we have larger scale fires, or if we have police events where they're going to be there for a while, gives them an opportunity to have access to the internet and be able to deal with complex incidents.
And now we get into the relics, a 1937 Dodge Pumper from Crystal Wells and private collector John Dolans. Doug, answer this for me. What is a pumper?
Okay, a pumper truck is typically what it sounds like. That truck is designed to bring water to the fire and pump water through it to put out the fire. We rely heavily, most pumpers will have a tank of some capacity on them. But that will only last us a very short time, so it's important that we get a hydrant line established so we have a continuous water source.
Going through a number of relics here, we had 1986 from the Minnetonka Fire Department. Dusty Thune brought in a 1946 Chevy engine. As we move along at a brisk pace here in the opening stages of the fire truck parade at the 2015 Fire Muster, the 36th edition. Now, this is coming from the Chanhassen Fire Department, an aerial platform from 1989. That's a big looking ladder too.
That's a big tower truck. You see the bucket on the front where they're able to. Looks like they have a couple elevated master beams they can put into place. They can also use it for sustained ladder operations, or if they have to flow water from an elevated point.
It said it was a 100-foot ladder. Now, have you scaled a 100-foot ladder to the top in your esteemed
110
career?
feet is the highest I've done, and it's quite a view.
And you've been working in the firefighting industry for 27 years. And
total of 25 in the fire industry, total of 27 in fire and EMS.
The highest I've been on a ladder is about 4 feet, I think. So I'm only 100 behind. Excelsior bringing in a vehicle, 1969 Mack Pumper, courtesy of private collector Rick Newstead.
There really are quite a few private collectors in the parade today, which I think is typical of fire musters past. New Brighton's coming down the road right now with 86 Laverne engine.
Now, describe the look of this chassis here. Now, the chassis is the front of the truck, and it seems like those have evolved a lot over the years.
Well, you see these two trucks here. So if you look at the New Brighton truck and you look at the Egan truck, the first one's built on a commercial chassis, whereas the Egan engine you're seeing here is a custom-built fire engine. So you're seeing on the first truck, the New Brighton would be more of a commercial truck basis, and they build a box on the back.
From South St. Paul and private collector Joe Manders, that's a 54 Mack Pumper. And it's amazing to see how the size has increased over the years. You started out with these fire vehicles that were almost the size of a common car, and now you see right in front of you with the Lakeville Fire, the 2015 engine. I mean, there's been a lot of evolution just in the growth of these vehicles.
Well, that's correct, and a lot of it has to do with the diversity of equipment we carry today versus back in the 30s through the 1950s. We're carrying a lot more technical type equipment, and it requires more storage.
How long does it take to learn the ins and outs of these vehicles? I mean, there's got to be a lot of technology that you have to get trained in to use.
It's dependent on the truck, but like as we say in the fire business, every day is a training day. You learn every day, so it just depends. It depends how much exposure somebody actually has time driving, because you're dealing with not only the vehicles but also the equipment on board.
Coming up next, a Farmington Engine 22, best truck of the fleet in 2014.
That might be our only white fire truck today. You don't see a whole lot of those, especially up in this part of the country.
Now, is there a particular reason why fire trucks are red customarily?
More traditional. they started out being red years ago. You saw some changes in the 70s and 80s. Started seeing yellow fire trucks, lime green fire trucks. It really depends on different parts of the country. Florida is real big on lime green, and those were primarily changed for to be able to be seen at night and on the roadways, things like that. Then there was a shift to a lot of red and white. Now you're starting to see a big shift to red and black, which is very common, becoming more and more common. Our Burnsville trucks have gone to that scheme over the years. So
you got some yellow ones coming in hot. Gary Lawrence bringing in a 77 Ford pumper from Newport. And right behind that, Dan McNulty providing a L9000 pumper from 1972, St. Anthony Village. Now, you come from Blaine, Mr. Nelson.
I do.
Are there any differences that you could point out, I guess, other than the cross-training aspect between the Blaine Fire Department and the Burnsville Fire Department? I mean, there's got to be certain differences from department to department.
You know, I tell people this, after having experience in both now, the fire aspect's the same. Burnsville Fire is a lot more diverse, and as far as we do a lot more technical rescue than where I came from. And also the biggest difference is, you know, the paramedic component, the EMS, fire-based EMS. So that's completely different, which is Burnsville's unique that way. There's not a lot of departments that do that, and it gives a really great level of service to the community when you call 911 and you end up with 5, firefighter paramedics on scene.
That was Mud Bay Fire Department bringing in their Engine 2. Nick Torini, 1936 Buffalo pumper. That's an 80-year-old vehicle. Incredible. And the cabs are open in a lot of these older vehicles too, whereas now they're almost all closed.
That's true. Yeah, when I started out my career, I started out riding outside. So things have changed quite a bit. You see both the last 2 trucks that have gone by have both been old Minneapolis engines. And the next truck you're about to see is a Pierce tiller truck. I think we talked a little bit at the beginning of the parade. We didn't know if there'd be any tillers. Well, here you go.
A tiller. Called a triller in fire truck speak.
Driving it can be a thriller, too.
Basically,
you have 2 drivers. You have a guy that's driving the front, and the guy in the back is responsible for getting the back end of that truck around corners. When you're driving the back of that truck, there are no brake pedals, so you are along for the ride. It's kind of like water skiing.
It looks like the driver of that truck may be a little too young to be operating. I got a young boy in the back cab, I think, with the supervision of one of his parents, presumably. We've got another collector behind there.
I believe the truck you're just seeing go by now, the old truck after the tiller, that's a group of FDNY and NYPD personnel that are visiting Chaska this week. They were actually 9/11 veterans.
Retired Burnsville truck Engine 22 concluding the festivities of the fire truck parade. It appears. What happens to retired trucks? At what point are they sent into retirement?
When they become mechanically unable to do the day-to-day. Typical fire truck, a life of an engine in a lot of areas is 20 years. In our city here, it's a lot shorter because of the miles and the call volume is a lot higher here than a lot of other departments. So our truck life's a lot shorter because they get beat on pretty heavily. They do a tough job. They carry a lot of equipment, a lot of weight, and you have to replace them a little more frequently.
Well, Doug, it's gone all too fast, but the fire truck portion of the parade complete. We appreciate your insights, all your wisdom, years of experience. Thank you very much for joining us here on BCTV.
Absolutely. It was a pleasure. Thank you.
Doug Nelson, Assistant Fire Chief, Burnsville Fire Department. We will swap out Doug and bring in John Mara, longtime community member, for the community portion of the parade. And that was an absolutely seamless switch. John Mara is in the house, everybody. Welcome, John.
What a day. What a day. Perfect day for a parade. Seems like it was this nice last year.
It's perfect right now. I mean, you've got very little breeze, you've got perfect sun, not a cloud in the sky, mid 60s, some light sweaters and jackets, but I mean, it could be short sleeve weather. I think we're going to see a lot of young families, a lot of community members. I mean, you said you walked the whole route. Thousands of people out here today.
Yeah, I tried to do the math. I figured it was 8 blocks, about 300 people per block, so that's almost 2,500 people. And this was a half an hour before it started. People were lining up, and certainly loud. You know, if you woke up from a coma yesterday and didn't know the fire muster was today and you heard these sirens, you'd think the biggest fire in the world was happening. And if you're a dog within a 5-block radius, you have faint memories of that day from hell last year repeating itself. But if you're right here, man, that was quite a show.
Oh, just a phenomenal history lesson on fire trucks and the origins of how they've evolved. You've got 80 years of fire truck history, and we do appreciate Doug Nelson sitting in to provide the insight for novices like yours truly, and I'm sure many of the viewers out there. So now we've got the community parade. We've got roughly 77 floats to get through in the next hour. We've got churches, politicians, athletic groups, and a number of local businesses, and this is always fun. And I think we need to make a goal, John. I think the goal is to get the announcers some candy by the end of this parade. Now, I don't know what philosophy you abide by, but I think there's no cap to how old you can be and still collect candy at a parade.
I think there's a good chance we might get hit in the head by some of it that gets tossed out. I mean, we're in a pretty good spot right here, and they are pretty generous with the candy.
Well, some people unhappy with the commentators may throw some tomatoes at us. We'll see if we can get some vegetables, but here we go. Burnsville VFW post 58-33 leading the way. First of about 77 floats assisting veterans and their families in the Burnsville community and Tacona County, established 23 years ago.
And if there was ever a symbol for community service, VFW really kind of shows that, and they've been a strong member of the community.
Burnsville City Council coming up next, led by Elizabeth Couts, the mayor. She'll be up for re-election in 2016. You can view the City Council meetings 4 times a month on BCTV Channel 16, broadcasting in HD this fall.
Yeah, and if there was ever a model of transparency for local government, this is it, because you can see what goes on in every meeting.
Got Dan Keeley.
Vintage Corvette. Oh, no!
Oh, my goodness. Well, looks like everybody is okay. The parade has come to a stop back at the booth here. A little spill taken. The City Council having a little too much fun.
Yep. Probably the worst thing hurt there is maybe a little pride. Everybody seems to be okay, and that's a great thing. And they're remounting the Corvette and distributing all the spilt candy. And probably a cautionary note to driving, which probably doesn't need to be said. The good news is if you ever needed an EMT, they're readily available, and we're right on the scene.
Absolutely. All the fire department cross-trained, so certainly enough of those fire staff on scene here. You hear the applause. They're back at it. They don't bow out of the community parade at the fire muster. Tough like hockey players.
You know, and rolling off the back of a Corvette like that was a pretty athletic move to not get hurt. So all's well that ends well.
Bill Coughlin taking a drive-by. He was reelected in 2014. Moving on to Coordinated Business Systems. They've been a proud sponsor of the Fire Muster Parade for the past 10 years. Coordinated Business Systems is a document imaging technology company that provides sales and service technology and voice data. Coordinated and its employees are also participating in the Light the Night Walk, raising money for the Leukemia and Lymphoma Society. Visit coordinated.com. They opened in 1983.
And built a big business. Burnsville does have a strong business base, and companies like Coordinated Business Systems make it happen.
Walzer Automotive Group, just behind Coordinated. Their dealerships donate 5% of their pre-tax earnings to Twin Cities community programs through the Walzer Foundation. Every year, the foundation provides grants to organizations that strengthen communities by focusing on families, women, and children. A proud supporter of the Burnsville Fire Muster.
And spectacular day again today too. You know, last year we had a day like this as well, and you wonder if you know that streak is going to end someday, but not today.
Mother Nature smiling upon us. Now, so what does the Mara family typically do during the Fire Muster festivities?
Well, they're kind of scattered around the country now, but in the past, the Friday night events were always a big go-to, and the fireworks, I can always hear them from my home. So there's quite a setup down by the ice arena, and the activities down there are a lot of fun.
Yep, keep in mind, it's more than just the parade. It's a weekend of fellowship in the community. Terrific time for all. Up next, it's Brad Rixman of Pawn America. Pawn America celebrating its 25th year in business. Brad Rixman, the 2013 Business Person of the Year. The organization has grown to 27 locations across 4 states since it began in 1991. And we're going to see a lot of big anniversaries today. You've got floats celebrating 25th, 40th, 50th anniversaries. And Pawn America, one of them, celebrating 25 years.
Seen the Boys and Girls Club of the Twin Cities. Quite an impressive array of people.
And then a little bit of a gap. What was the last time you were involved in a parade? In the actual parade itself,
I've
John?
never been in a parade.
You've never been in a parade?
Never been in a parade.
So this is really your debut in any kind of parade function.
I suppose being watching it, you can participate, you know, if you look at it that way. But, you know, at this point, I'm not sure I want to be riding in the back end of an open car.
It's dangerous.
Although those fire trucks look awfully neat. You know, you look at those and you just, no matter how old you are, you kind of feel like a little bit of a kid again. They're pretty awe-inspiring.
It is fun, though, to watch the youth at these events and just see the parade through their eyes once again. I mean, we all remember being young with our pleading hands, hoping to get a handout of candy.
It's like pre-Halloween training.
Elite Gymnastics, our next float. 26,000 square foot, fully air-conditioned facility located at the intersection of Highway 13 South and Chowan Avenue South. I wish I had taken gymnastics as a kid. Oh, we got bubbles coming our way. Far from flexible. I really could have used some of that training.
And that's the time of your life to get into it. You know, when you do it that young, it stays with you your entire life. And you got to wonder if there's like an 8-block course here and these kids are going to be doing handstands the whole way. That'll be quite an endurance test as well.
You're already seeing the athleticism and the incredible flexibility and skill that these young kids, they don't appear to be much more than 10 to 12 years old, and they are doing things I've never been able to do in my wildest dreams. Awfully impressive. Look at that.
And the other good way to get conditioning when you're young is swimming. And Elite is associated with the Atlantis Swim Academy. And they have gym and swim activities and events.
They opened their doors in February of 2013, and the Gymnastics Academy opened in 2007. Both fairly new. And now we have the Fairview Ridges Hospital, Pediatric Services and Pharmacy. Fairview Ridges Hospital offers specialized pediatric services for the region, including a newly remodeled pediatric inpatient unit. They have convenient locations in Burnsville and are open to the public. Immunizations against influenza, pneumonia, tetanus, and shingles.
And as a resident of Burnsville, if you're here for any period of time, if you need if it's necessary to go to a hospital, I've had great experience there. They're a wonderful asset to the community and the surrounding regional area.
Their pharmacy offers 20% discounts on Wednesdays on over-the-counter and gift items. They also have a giveaway, some free stuff to get at the vendor fair. Illumination Church, one of 4 churches of the 77 floats. Coming up next here, it looks like we've still got the lingering. Oh, we did it! We got some bobbers. Is fishing season over yet?
Is there candy inside of it? That's what I want to know.
No, they're empty.
We still don't have candy.
Yeah, I thought that.
It's a step.
Yeah, a step in the right direction.
Baby steps.
If we put it out on display, maybe it'll look like we've received things before.
Well, you need bait with your bobber, so we're halfway there.
We need some leeches. Maybe Illumination Church has some. They are a church meeting at 10 a.m. the weekend of the fire muster. Typically at 9:30 a.m. it appears that they meet on Nicollet Avenue. Illumination Church.
And churches, of course, are a community inside a community, and then we have well represented today by churches.
Burnsville High School girls basketball and Coach Larissa Parr on float number 11. Girls basketball team getting ramped up for the 15-16 season. They won state titles in 77, 91, and 92, trying to revisit the Golden Era with third-year Coach Parr.
Always interesting. Girls basketball are always entertaining games. Good atmosphere inside that arena.
Definitely. Augustana Regent, founded in 1896 by Lutheran pastor Carl J. Petrie. Since its earliest days, Augustana Care has been rooted in philanthropy. Over the past century, they've significantly expanded their services and communities with 25 communities now, and 2 of those locations in Wyoming and Wisconsin, so a wide-ranging organization, Augustana Regent.
Yeah, it's a beautiful facility and a beautiful site overlooking Early Lake just south of the Burnsville Mall. It's just very nice. You see within the parade, the young people are represented, the older people are represented. It's great to see it all.
Well, and you see it here with darts, serving over 1,000 seniors in Dakota County, a nonprofit. And as far as an organization goes, darts is absolutely shooting a bullseye.
Yeah, it's a service that if you need just a little bit of help, they can provide that. If you need a lot of help, they can provide that. They're a full-service provider.
Helping with transportation since 1974, providing services to older adults trying to stay independent.
Here we go.
Cub Foods, a supermarket chain with 77 stores in Minnesota and Illinois. The company is a wholly owned subsidiary of Eden Prairie, Minnesota-based Super Value. Famous for being no frills.
Yeah, 2 stores. I know what's on every aisle, and both those stores can get in and out of there, and good prices and great food. And I wonder, where do you park that thing in the off season?
I do wonder. That's a heck of a grocery cart. Sometimes I feel like I need one that big. You know, you get in Cub and you just start weaving through the aisles, and suddenly your cart is overflowing.
Yes.
Grand Marshal Bob Stoll, the COO of U.S. Federal Credit Union, right after Cub. And then it's Maury's School of Dance Incorporated. A number of dance institutions, and you wonder why Burnsville has had such successful dance teams. I mean, they raise them right in this community to be dancing from a very young age, and they do so at Maury's School of Dance, serving the community for 42 years, beginning at 18 months of age.
Yeah, my oldest daughter was a dancer and got involved in the program, and you kind of get swept up into it, and they've been very successful at a high level for a long time.
Doing a choreographed dance routine as they walk by. Very impressive. That's very well choreographed. Let's get them on America's Got Talent. Not too shabby.
And again, they've got a marathon to go down, so they're obviously in good shape.
Yeah,
and they look like they're having fun. That's the thing with dance. If you like it and you have fun, you can see it when they do it.
And look at that. It's Bernie,
Bernie,
the ambassador of the Fire Muster Parade, driven by Joe Vogel. Bernie played by Amber Jones, travels far and wide to other festivals promoting the fire muster. Put an exclamation point on your summer, she says.
You know you're a real city when you have your own full-time mascot.
Custom Remodelers Incorporated does free estimates on a variety of projects. Siding, windows, roofs, gutters. Custom remodeling in business for 26 years.
Family owned.
Cypress Schools follows up next. They've got 3 different schools, John, and just a terrific institution with a diverse range of areas to educate children. And they've got the Classical Montessori, accredited preschool that combines the best of Montessori and classical education. They've got the School of Music to learn at a young age, or even if you're an advanced musician, you can learn music there. You see the kids performing. You got drum sets, guitars, you got vocals. And then you've got the Classical Academy, which is catered to gifted and talented catering to gifted and talented young students.
And, you know, encouraging growth in those areas when you have that aptitude at an early age is quite a head start.
Oh, boy. We got to watch out, John. The martial arts are walking by. And I see a couple of them glaring at us. We may need to practice self-defense.
Yeah,
but
hide those bobbers. Hide those bobbers.
Yeah, well, these kids are for real. Now, last year, there was a time where they had boards that they were breaking. And these kids were just hammering these wooden boards and showing great measures of strength. And this year, you see them exhibiting their skills, some sword work coming from the backside. Terrific stuff from Gleisner's ATA Martial Arts, celebrating over 25 years in business.
Yeah, and that's another discipline that fulfills you physically and also mentally.
Well, we saw Maury's School of Dance, and now we see the gold standard. This is where you reach. Once you reach the pinnacle of your childhood dance lessons, the Blazettes, the high school dance squad. See them at the football home games. I'm sure we'll see them at homecoming on Friday against Farmington, which will be broadcasting on BC TV. 62 Blazettes on this year's team.
And 10 state championships in their history, which is impressive for any community. A high standard of excellence, and again, you know, they all have smiles on their face. I'd be grimacing if I tried to do one of those things. On my way to Fairview Ridges Hospital for excellent treatment.
The Blazettes. And immediately behind, the cheerleading squad. Program striving to provide a welcoming and positive team atmosphere, building unity and team spirit for the Burnsville Blaze.
And you know, it's kind of like you're participating in the sports as well. Like in the parade, there's many roles to have, and being engaged is a good thing.
Here's the marching band. See if we can recognize the tune. Got 100 members in the band. Oh, it's Uptown Funk. John, I know you like some Uptown Funk. Bruno Mars.
Well, these guys really rock it when they play the hockey games.
And they're singing along. Now, my lone parade experience was the middle school marching band back in Vermilion, South Dakota. And I'll tell you what, it's a rewarding experience. You know, you practice the music, the steps, you walk around, and I had the drums attached, and there's not much that's more fun band-wise than getting to march in a parade. That's a good time.
And, you know, on my way here, I saw everyone kind of getting ready for the parade, and there was a whole bunch of excitement, and they probably have a 20-minute performance in front of them from beginning to end here.
Angie Craig for Congress, running for the DFL endorsement for Congress here in the 2nd Congressional District, trying to take on John Klein in 2016.
In fact, John Klein has just announced he's retiring after this, so this is an open seat. So it should be encourage everybody to get out there and learn as much as they can about all the candidates and participate in a representative democracy.
Now, after a long day working here at the Fire Muster Parade for the announcers. We may need a salon trip to European Wax Center. First-time guests can receive a complimentary eyebrow wax. My wife frequently tells me I need to trim up the eyebrows, so this would be an excellent opportunity for me to utilize and for you out there in the crowd.
Probably would make sense for me, but I'm trying to hold on to all the hair I have.
Burnsville Education Association honoring the 2015 Teacher of the Year for School District 191, Jennifer Bohr, a 6th grade teacher at Hidden Valley Elementary in Savage.
And next year she'll be sharing her expertise with the teachers as a continuous improvement institutional coach, which is quite a role to say even.
Yeah, absolutely. Teacher of the Year, Jennifer Bohr. Metcalf Junior High up next, located in Burnsville, Egan Savage School District 191. Golden anniversary this year, 50 years strong, their sign says. Opened their doors in 1966. First junior high school in the school district, named after John Metcalf,
who was a state senator out of Shakopee at the time. I attended Metcalf in 1970 when it was, and it looks a lot the same. You know, we have these round schools in Burnsville, and it's a great example of it.
Earlier this year, the Metcalf team won the Junior High Chess Championship, 28th state chess title.
Which is phenomenal as well. It renowned throughout the country.
Local radio station, 1500 AM. Where's Patrick Royce? I mean, where's Judd Zolgat? They're not doing a show right now. I need to see those guys.
Maybe they're in the back of the truck.
Maybe they're broadcasting live from the back. That could be 1500 AM, one of the all sports stations here in the metro area on AM.
One of 3, I think, in the cities are.
Well, KFAN certainly the lead dog here in the metro, and up next we've got the 191 Board of Education, featuring Bob Vandenboom, Chair, Daniel Luth, Vice Chair, Dr. Dee Dee Courier, Clerk, amongst others.
And having put 4 kids, almost 4 kids through the school district, I can vouch for all the decisions they've made over the year. They're in the process of changing the school system from a middle school from a junior high to a middle school and have 4 years at the high school. So that's a major change, and they're orchestrating that in their strategic plan.
We saw Ebenezer Ridges actually participating in the fire truck portion of the parade. They were placed atop one of those big, new ladder trucks. And that leads us to the Burnsville High Alpine Ski Team, one of 6 athletic groups represented here. Girls team started in '93. Boys team in 2000. Always looking for new members. Come out and support them at the following events. Hoygaard's tent sale, September 18th through 20th, and then October 26th at Culver's.
Yeah, and like many high school sports, there are opportunities available for people who may not think they're good enough. You get in there and you might find the potential.
Ski on the same slope as Lindsey Vaughn. And John?
Christina Kosnick, yep.
We're going to be renewing our hockey partnership this winter. We've got the Hockey Club. BHC serving boys and girls in District 191. And you can try hockey free out at the Ice Center on September 13th and 27th.
And if you want to get involved, that's a great way to do it. There also are opportunities to get equipment if you want to try it out. And believe me, once you do it, you're hooked. So greatest sport on earth, get out and try it.
Your daughter in the hockey program one more year?
One more year. That'll be 23 straight years of going to the rink and loving it all.
I'll be looking forward to that. It'll be Sam Ekstrom and John Mara on the hockey calls here on BCTV coming this winter season. Anchor Bank follows up the hockey club, family-owned, Minnesota-based bank, a team of 18 different facilities.
And there's a lot to be said for local-owned, supporting local-owned businesses. The business stays here, the people stay here, and they're responsive to community needs.
Sioux Trail, right after them, they're celebrating their golden anniversary, 50 years.
There's a few of those. I had siblings that went there.
Moving right along, we've got Minnesota House 51A Representative Sandra Mason doing some campaigning. The Blackbird Quadrabent bicycle that Sandy is riding, made by Jim Black, right here in his shop, Blackbird Designs in Burnsville. Stop by and check him out at 12721 Appleview Lane.
That could have gone in the fireman's parade. That was pretty slick.
Here they are, the victorious Blaze football team coming off a 35-0 drubbing of Apple Valley last night. Moving to 3-1 on the season. They're sponsored by Red Savoy Pizza, the official pizza of Blaze football. I've had it. It's delicious.
And if you go to the games there, that's what they're serving. So grab a slice.
Celebrating their 50th anniversary as well. Burnsville football sending a number of varsity players out here. Looks like Keenan Wingy. Ricky Jackson there in the back of the truck. Ricky Jackson, the defensive end. Now the Burnsville Lions Club, supporting Burnsville schools, parks, senior centers, in existence since May of 1966. It's quite a float.
Yeah, it's part of the, where do you put that in the winter, too? Someone's sacrificing some tremendous garage space.
I got to imagine so. I mean, you don't create that at Newly every year. You got mechanics involved. You got a rotating globe.
I'd probably go out and look at it all weekend.
St. John the Baptist Catholic School, a fully licensed schoolhouse through 8th grade. Voted top private school in Burnsville for the second year in a row.
That's a big truck.
Yes, it is. Out of Owatonna.
Those must be heavy signs. And there's Roz.
Roz Peterson, state representative. She's a mother, wife, small business owner, and a new legislator in the Minnesota House of Representatives. Honored to serve the communities of Burnsville and Lakeville in State House 56B. How long have you lived in the community, John?
Well, my family moved here in 1970. I graduated high school in 74 and probably moved out for about 10 years into the surrounding area, and then ended up buying my parents' house 20 years ago, so I've been here a long time.
So you've been here basically since before the fire muster began. You've seen it evolve from day one. What have you seen in terms of growth with the whole event?
Well, I've been here long enough to, most of these houses weren't here and they were cornfields and the like. And then the community grew, it kind of bonded together and found some way to express it. Every community has some kind of, seems like they have some kind of festivity they rally around. And the fire muster made a lot of sense. And it's become renowned. You saw fire trucks from a lot of different areas come here, including where the heck is Mud Lake, right?
Right.
So it's grown over this is a pretty good community that's grown up and is kind of in the process of taking that next step into the community that recharges itself. You see an awful lot of kids out here, and that's great to see.
Moments ago, we saw the Burnsville, Minnesota Valley Figure Skating Club, founded in September of 1977. They have Autumn Fest coming up. Should be a great time. And now Studio 4 dancers, as you see on your screen. Studio 4, one of the programs offered a competitive recreational dance studio. It's located right here in Burnsville. Visit studio4dancers.com.
I think, aren't they owned by Four Sisters?
I believe they are, yes. Another dance routine.
They have a dance studio and then a competitive dance operation.
You can do it competitively. You can do it for leisure. Lots of different ways to get active.
And you have to think with all the very young kids sitting here, they're looking at all these different sports and activities, and on the way home they're beginning going, "Mommy, can I be a dancer?"
It's a great way to get some eyeballs on your product, your business, and your organization. Just a great community event bringing everybody together. Man, maybe the one negative of this, John, it seems like this is the unofficial start to fall.
Yeah, but there's a lot of people that'll tell you fall is their favorite time of year. There's a lot of things about fall that are attractive. The thing that maybe gets on some people's mind is it means winter's next, and they may not like winter. But if you don't like winter, you're missing out on one of the best seasons of the year in my mind. I like winter if it doesn't last through spring.
Well, look at this ragtag group. It's BCTV 14, Burnsville Community Television. Your community, your story. Going HD on Channel 16 this fall. Broadcasting primarily from their state-of-the-art studios in Burnsville High School. And that's what you're viewing right now. We've got Facebook, YouTube, social media platforms broadcasting most of the high school sporting events throughout the year, and Sustainability Man bringing up the rear. I wonder who the man is behind the mask.
And if he'll be able to keep it up.
Sustainability Man making a cameo here at the Fire Muster.
And again, anyone who wants to get involved in television production, BCTV makes it possible.
Oh yeah, any ages. We'll train you in. We'll allow you to run camera for a number of different sports. We love getting the community involved.
You can even author and make your own shows.
Indeed, indeed. Phil Sterner coming up next. Two hardworking, longtime residents campaigning to be your voice in the Minnesota State Legislature. Dan Kimmel is one, software developer, former school board member, and Phil Sterner, local business owner and community leader, running for state senator. Good luck to Dan Kimmel and Phil Sterner. Do you like to go out to eat, John?
Yes, I do. If you've ever seen me cook, you know when I cook, that means we're going out. So I like to cook.
Well, Burger Jones, a great option if you are one who has a tendency to leave the kitchen and have someone else cook for you. Some of the best burgers in the metro area. If you're jonesing for a burger, look no further than Burger Jones in their 4th parade. And they often partner with Burnsville High School.
I remember them partnering with Burnsville Strong and offering a $1 donation on some of their burgers when that cause was getting started.
And
big part of the community.
Yeah, and we'll see Burnsville Strong a bit later on as well. We've got ISD 191, early childhood programs. They've got a new remodel at Diamond Head Education Center, teaching tiny tots to grow and learn.
So there's a truck that's being pulled, and that shows you how they train those wrestlers.
That is a feat of strength. The wrestling team with new coach Scott Sether this year. Season begins on November 16th. Now the PCA Worship Band representing Presbyterian Church of the Apostles. And it's a great selection of musical instruments that they are performing with. A whole band set up in the back of the truck. And now, really our host for the BCTV setup here, Gideon Pond Elementary School. We are right in their front yard. New principal Chris Belmont and Mark Burkhart in the mascot costume. Mark Burkhart wearing the feline head and some large shoes. Gideon Pond Elementary celebrating their 50th birthday as well.
Still pretty nimble in those big shoes. The parade slowed down a little bit. I don't know if they had to let the wrestlers take a break, or I'm sure they wouldn't admit that.
Now, is that a jaguar? Is it a puma? I'm trying to get a read on what kind of cat that is.
He's probably hot right now. That's what I would say.
Yeah, it's heating up out here.
Yeah. And a good representation of the parents and families.
Terrific.
And they get to keep the shirts. A lot of 50 anniversaries this year and last year. You can tell when Burnsville started to grow.
Yeah, you really can. And you had the same thing in 2014, and you see a number of these floats celebrated their 50th anniversary last year too, and some will celebrate it next year. So really, that boom in the 60s.
I think it was about the time they built the freeway.
Yep. The sprawl, always moving south, it seems. We have the Minnesota Valley Transit Authority, MVTA, free Wi-Fi on board, offering 3 million rides each year to destinations in downtown Minneapolis, St. Paul, Mall of America, with connections via the light rail system as well.
And if it is a sprawl, you can still get around because they provide a lot of service to a lot of different areas, and they connect to services that go throughout the cities.
Jay's Family Restaurant. The best homemade food around, they say.
Yeah, I can tell you about Jay's. When my dad had a heart attack and had to exercise more, he had to walk every day, and we lived about a mile from Jay's. And he would walk there every day and have breakfast. And there was a point where I thought he was going to change and move in there and walk to our house for a while. He loved the food so much, and it's been there a long time.
Longest running restaurant in Burnsville since 1973. It's made from scratch. True homemade meal.
And they say thank you to the regulars that have kept you around, and I can tell you that that's the truth.
Hashtag Burnsville Strong. In its second year, a movement that started in light of some tragic events last summer involving students in Burnsville High School trying to unite, inspire, and support the community. Use the hashtag Burnsville Strong. With 60 members in the organization.
And that's a true message of community if there ever was one.
Lindsay Port for state representative. The campaign here. Minnesota House of Representatives. Lindsay, along with her husband, Steve, run a small business in Burnsville, trying to make the community a better place. How about Devani's?
Well, if you've ever had a hot hoagie and it hasn't been from Devani's, you haven't had a hot hoagie. They had them before everyone else had them, and they do them right. And good pizza as well.
Extension of the fire truck parade, too. You got Engine 37. Looks like a retired engine. Devani's Hoagies. Now the Lutheran Church of the Ascension. It celebrated their 50th anniversary in 2014. Just had the summer block party on August 8th. Mayor Kautz, proclaimed that weekend Lutheran Church of the Ascension Weekend. And a new pastor, Joel Vano. Winding down to the final 20 floats or so. Again, it is John Mara, Sam Ekstrom, here on becoming a very warm and sunny day here in Burnsville. U.S. Bank, our next float, celebrating their 150th anniversary. And, of course, the sponsors of the new Vikings Stadium will be seeing that logo plastered in downtown for many years to come.
Yeah, and they're a very successful bank with strong leadership and good business model.
Footsteps Dance Studio opened in 2000. Another dance academy. They are all over the place and dancing to Walk the Moon, Shut Up and Dance.
And they've got someone pushing them too in a car, so they won't slow down.
I need to imitate some of these moves the next time I'm at a wedding dance. You know, I'm constantly embarrassing myself. Miss Star Mission holds an annual show to raise money to support orphanages in Asia. Great organization.
Great cause. There's a connection in this community with Southeast Asia.
And now we have the always popular Boogie for Jesus, the performer and entertainer Lorvin, who plays a number of different characters. He's performed for over 500,000 people in 50 parades. He's a rapper, a dancer, and a professional entertainer, spreading the word through hip-hop and entertainment.
Well, music is always a very successful medium for passing a message. And when you've got nicknames like the Godinator, you're going to get some attention.
My favorite, God's Pitbull. Another one he goes by. Just enjoy it, folks.
There's a message in there somewhere. It connects.
Durham School Services, tough act to follow, but they'll do their best, providing transportation services to the students of 191 and Aspen Academy, partnering with charter bus services dating back to 1917, so they'll have a centennial coming up in a couple of years.
No more precious cargo than what they deliver. Do you ever have to ride the bus?
You know, I didn't. I grew up in such a small community in South Dakota. I was always close to school, so I never had the experience, except of course, you know, for sporting events in high school. But no, I didn't have that valuable growing experience.
Well, I did, and you know, you classify people as front of the bus, back of the bus, middle of the bus, and it meant something. I forget what it was, but
yeah. River Hills United Methodist Church. 50th anniversary, once again. Looking forward to the next 50 years. They've got a pumpkin patch coming up in October, and they have their services at 9 a.m. and 11:05 a.m. You gotta like when churches, you know, can have those outreach events like a pumpkin patch for the community to bring people in and just have some fun.
Make it easy to connect with other people.
Mm-hmm. A lot of it is about the fellowship and the relationships that you can create.
And people look for messages sometimes, and they need to find them, and it's very important.
The Link, founded by former Vikings Jim Marshall and Oscar Reed, nonprofit organization. Over 20 years of experience working with at-risk youth throughout the metro area. 3 program areas or divisions: housing and homeless services, juvenile justice, and safe harbor.
Yeah, and people make mistakes, and second chances is an important thing to have available.
Coldwell Banker follows up the Link. Proud to be part of the community.
And you know, we're at a point in Burnsville now where in some cases neighborhoods are beginning to turn over, and having a good realtor is important, especially one who's rooted in the community.
Yep. Oh, realtor, very, very important. I recently purchased a house, and the experience can be very good. It can be very bad, and you have stories of both, and certainly Coldwell Banker Burnett going about it the right way. Scott Carver Dakota Cap Agency. 22 programs in their community action partnership. Head Start, energy assistance, senior nutrition and housing, amongst others, also celebrating their golden anniversary.
Another good example of a nonprofit serving the community.
Burnsville High School Theater Guild on deck. 55 years for them. Were you ever a thespian in your school career?
One of my daughters was, and she got a chance to do the stage work, the acting, and the directing, and I found it to be fascinating and very inspired. Some of the people were very inspired and were as passionate about that as any of the sports players, and it was a very neat thing to watch. There's some very talented people in this community, and they've got ways to express it.
I retired from acting after my preschool production of Snow White. I was the woodsman, and I hung it up after that. I felt like I was going out on top.
Which is nice.
Cub Scout packs 445 and 435 of Burnsville. Nice rocket ship.
Yeah.
In the back. That's.
I wonder how many patches they got for making that.
Oh, yeah. I mean, it's got to fulfill a number of requirements.
I mean, I was a Cub Scout. You were a Cub Scout?
I wasn't.
Yeah.
I probably would have learned some valuable skills. I mean, a lot of great traits taught. I mean, you learn how to take initiative. You learn how to put in work and attain your goals, and it's a wonderful organization. Buck Hill, skiing, snowboarding, and tubing area. Of course, we saw the Alpine ski team earlier. Since 1954, a great place for winter fun. Most snowmaking potential per acre than any other ski area in the Midwest, and you would expect no less from a Minnesota-based ski slope.
And the skiers that come out of there include Lindsey Vaughn, Christina Kosnick, and the up-and-coming Paula Moltzen. That's a name to mark on your list to watch.
Winter Olympics in 2018. ICU Mobile Twin Cities South, offering free pregnancy tests and free ultrasounds. Give them a call at 952-447-5683 for a free appointment. Another dance ensemble. It's the Youth Dance Ensemble and School, making their 15th appearance at the parade.
You know, so many of these dance schools are so well established. I'm sure you got sisters going through the program and word of mouth, and it's a great thing. There really is a culture for dance around here. No surprise the Blazettes do so well.
Park Chrysler Jeep is the oldest Jeep dealership in the Metro, around since 1957.
Yeah, well, when I was in high school, I worked in the gas station right next to them, and Jeeps became the coolest thing in the world for me, especially when they got to be able to take them out back and run them through the mud.
Representative Drew Christensen, proud to represent the Savage and Burnsville in Minnesota House, congratulates the community of Burnsville on a successful fire muster focused on strong schools, fixing roads and bridges, and bringing tax relief to hardworking Minnesota families.
I believe Drew is the youngest member of that legislative body.
And now the Girl Scouts. We saw the Boy Scouts or the Cub Scouts moments ago, and here's the Girl Scouts. And you know, it's more than just good cookies. It's about building up young women with courage and confidence, character, being a good citizen, and going the extra mile to make the world around you better.
And the cookies are good. What's your favorite cookie? You have one?
The is it Thin Mint?
Okay.
Yeah.
I'll take whatever comes.
And
more gymnastics. Look at that.
Balance beam
on a moving vehicle.
Yeah, that is not easy. Handstands. Splits. You've got splits, and you can't quite see it from that angle, but behind the trailer, you've got somersaults and splits coming from a member of the boys team. And that's awfully impressive. Well, we're reaching the tail end. Parkway Co-op, one of the best senior living places in Burnsville. Calendar packed full of activities. Great people that you can call neighbors. Building opened in the fall of 1997.
And you know, Burnsville is one of those communities you don't need to move out of after you leave your house. Plenty of good facilities. And some pretty healthy seniors, too, being able to walk the route. And this is impressive.
This is. You see the unicyclist on your screen. That's John Butler, a self-taught unicyclist, juggler, and magician living in Burnsville. He's only in 9th grade. Incredible talents for a young man, 13, 14 years old. Started unicycling this year in July, and he's already demonstrating for thousands.
Yeah. Casting a wary eye on the semi-truck behind him, but still quite impressive.
Walmart bearing down on John.
Keeping him honest. He's doing fine.
Putting a bow on the parade. Walmart came to Burnsville just 3 years ago, partnering with the school board to start Back to School Shop with a Cop program. Each student selected by their schools received a $100 gift card to Shop with a Cop for back to school items. School started just 4 days ago. Back at it.
Yep, and it kind of changes the flavor of the community when the kids that come home from the football game and they go, you know, I'm tired from school all week. I'm going to go to bed.
Well, it feels right, though, to have, you know, school in session during the football season. We had 3 games played before the season started, and now we've got school starting, and suddenly, bang, homecoming is upon us this Friday.
Yeah, the kids are ready, though. They're right into it. You know, you watch them get ready for the games. I've got a daughter that loves going to the games, and it's an event, and they're supportive of the team, and they got a team to cheer for this year that's winning.
A 3-1 football product. They defeated Apple Valley last night 35-0, and they take on Farmington, who fell to Lakeville North last night. They'll take them on in the homecoming game on Friday. I'll have that broadcast for you this coming Friday, 6 days from now, on BCTV. That would be our next broadcast. Well, John, we've reached the end. We've got the stragglers coming up the rear. About an hour and 10 minutes from the time it started, the big event has come to a conclusion, and now, you know, it's on to the other community events. You can go around, you can see some of the vendors, and I'm guessing there will be a lot of barbecuing, a lot of time spent outdoors on one of, hopefully not, but maybe one of the final nice weekends we'll have here of the summer season.
Well, it's going to be a nice weekend, guaranteed, looking at the way the weather is now. And if you're watching this live, make your way on down to the city center, the Civic Center, where everything is all set up, and they've got rides, and they'll have music and fireworks tonight. So make the best of it.
Well, John, it's been a pleasure. We will reunite in about 2 to 3 months at the Burnsville Ice Center for Burnsville hockey. Can't wait for that. But for now, that's John. I'm Sam. This has been BCTV's production of the 36th Annual Fire Muster Parade.
I got a bottle of water.
Don't forget the candy that I gave you. We got my flag.
Yeah, we got to pack it. Want to put your bag in your bag? Yeah, put your bag in that. We got to clean up. You can carry it on your bag. Ready? Turn around. We should have gone. And one arm. One arm. And 2 arms. Candy. She said she's going to